Hydrofield cuts through my neighborhood.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
What's happening?
So glad to have everybody here with us on this Sunday, or later if you're watching, and it's not Sunday, or if you're in the future, like in Australia.
You could be making flippy floppy.
I know. Wherever you are. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you are. We have some stuff to cover tonight. We're going to be talking about a bill in Michigan, a law that passed. It didn't come past all of them, but I think it was in the House. I'll have to double check. I believe it was a House bill. 4474, I think is the number. If I got it right, did I get a star?
4474.
4474. I think I got it right.
Definitely.
So that was in Michigan. It's about a law about censorship and how you perceive things. It's really crazy that it passed in the House. We're going to be looking at what's happening in a Minnesota school and people that are speaking out. Gender care for toddlers, because that's happening. Yes, I mean it. Gender care for toddlers. You heard that right. You really did. Toddlers in the United States. And so we're going to explore a little bit of that. And we're going to be looking into Lupron, the effects that it's had on women and effects and how it's been used for men and how it's being used otherwise. So we're going to be talking about that because it's also known as a puberty blocker, but it's not. Yeah, we'll get into the details of that. Is it a puberty blocker?
No.
Is it? So we have all that, and we'll get started with that really soon. I want to check in and see how everybody is doing tonight. Who do we have with us?
Oz says no nation state truly exists, and I agree. I think nothing really truly exists.
Nothing?
Fight me. Fight me. Disagree, fight me.
Let's see. We got Angela and Oz and Yepex in the chat. How are you guys? I hope everybody's doing well. Just a little update, the pig pile is still happening on Twitter. So hi, hate watchers.
Hey,
I know that you hate watch. Thanks for interacting with the channel.
Yeah, thanks for the views. We love you.
Appreciate it.
Love you. Kisses.
So I know, Yepex, I know you wanted me to cover this bill the other day, and I said I had to cover it because it's really crazy, and it does fit into the issues that we are speaking of. So I'm gonna pull this up to show you guys what I'm talking about here. Oh yeah, it's like 4th of July weekend or whatever. Is everyone doing 4th of July plans?
Making boom booms.
Yeah. Well, I didn't make boom booms, but I was spinning my my LED poise outside.
That's like visual boom booms.
Yeah, but it doesn't scare the animals. It might confuse the lightning bugs. It might be confusing to lightning bugs, and I apologize if I am confusing any lightning bugs.
La la, Space Kitty, nice to see you.
La la, and Lady Alex.
Lady Alex, Angela Sangster. Yep, X, Oz whistles.
Nice. Good to see you guys.
Snow
All right.
forgot to set his alarm clock.
Uh-oh.
He forgot to tell his kitty to wake him up for the show.
So this is the bill that that I was talking about, and
I haven't looked at it.
This is the Michigan Review, the Journal of Campus Affairs, and it was established in 1982. Michigan HB 4474 is an anti-free speech and anti-constitution, and this is from June 20th of 2023. So of course, this is perfect for 4th of July weekend that we have an anti-free speech bill that passed. So, we're going to go over this and see what happened with this bill and what makes it an anti-free speech bill. So, for all the talk I hear about the conservatives being authoritarian and tyrannical, it seems very ironic, oh gosh, here we go, that the Michigan Democratic Party has decided to push for the passage of HB 4474, which, when you read the bill, might be one of the most authoritarian and tyrannical bills passed in Michigan in recent memory, alongside many of the bills surrounding COVID-19. Uh-oh. So, of course, everyone who has read the Constitution understands that free speech is a firmly protected right enshrined in the First Amendment. Well, we'll put a pin in that. Okay, we'll put a pin in the fact that that it's there, but we'll talk about that. In fact, our right to free speech has been consistently protected by the Supreme Court countless times, specifically in the case of what is this? Brandenburg versus Ohio, 1969. The Supreme Court voted an 8-0 decision. Justice Abe Fontes retired prior to the decision, resulting in only 8 justices, blah, blah, blah. So that free speech, including speech that advocates illegal conduct, is protected under the First Amendment unless that speech calls for the imminent lawless action. So no bill can reasonably be considered constitutional if it restricts free speech. Well, that makes sense, right? So we're good there, but does not directly call for imminent violence and lawlessness according to the Supreme Court precedent. So shouldn't be an issue, right? We shouldn't be able to pass something that would restrict our free speech. But it's worth mentioning that other Supreme Court precedent does not restrict particular forms of speech in particular settings. Cases such as Tinker versus Des Moines, 1969, blah, blah. Okay, these other ones. I'll link the article if you want to read all the details. They do allow some restrictions on speech in K through 12 schools if the speech causes substantial disruption or advocates to use illegal substance use. Another case they cite from 1957 did provide restrictions on obscene speech, although the case has since been qualified. Miller versus California, 73. Which created a 3-step process determining whether the speech can reasonably be considered obscene. However, even with these particular restrictions, HB 4474 would still grossly violate the First Amendment. I need to get a thing where I can highlight in these articles and stuff. I don't know how to do that. Do you guys know how to do that? Tell me.
Do what?
Make it where I can highlight. I can go through and highlight in the article.
If you copy it, you put your cursor in the article and highlight it that way. You can just go drag it backwards, and then it will make it all blue around.
No, I don't want to do that, and I want to have it where I can highlight it. So when I go back to read it,
oh, I see.
I can have it highlighted the parts that I wanted to cover. Okay, well. So Michigan HB 4474 states that a person may be charged with a felony and sentenced up to 5 years in prison if they intimidate or harass another individual, use force or violence, or cause severe mental anguish. So, on 2 new additions of perceived characteristics, in parentheses it says that, gender identity or sexual orientation. Now let me read that again. Like that's an important thing right here. So Michigan HB 4474 states that a person may be charged with a felony and sentenced to up to 5 years in prison if they intimidate or harass another individual or use force or violence to cause severe mental anguish, based on 2 new additions of perceived, in parentheses, characteristics: gender identity or sexual orientation. So perceived. So like that kind of like leaves it up to, anybody can perceive it. You know what I mean? If it would be really easy. Like imagine how that could be used. Oh, I perceive it this way. And it can be used in a, you know what I mean, to just silence people. So how can we determine intimidation, harassment, and violence? Well, if the person feels like they've been intimidated or harassed, I'm not making that up. It's right here. So if the person feels like they've been intimidated or harassed, then of course they've been harassed according to this bill. So it's important to mention that no one on the left can even define what violence means. Up until a couple of years ago, effectively everyone understood that violence was related to some form of physical harm. Unfortunately, a wide variety of Democrats no longer define violence that way. So how do we define violence? According to Democrats, words are violence, and in particular words that they disagree with. Obviously, violence. And yes, I don't know what you guys are saying in the chat because I'm looking at the article itself, but and I understand that there's probably some sway that this sounds like it's coming from the other side of it, but at the same time, what they're saying is very true. So I'm just going to put that little disclaimer in there. I can't see what you guys are saying right now. I'll come back for feedback after that, though. So, for example, roughly 1 year ago, Senator Josh Hawley, Republican of MO, is that Montana? MO? A University of California, Berkeley law professor, simple question, asked a simple question. Oh, yeah. When Bridges used the term people with the capacity to get pregnant, Hawley asked Bridges, would that be a woman? In response, an agitated Bridges stated that Hawley's line of questioning opens up transgender people to violence. So by asking a very simple question that anyone with the understanding of objective reality could answer as being yes, people who have the capacity to get pregnant are women and only women, as no man has had any of the biological as no man has any of the biological components or functions necessary in order to get pregnant. Hawley has apparently calling for violence against transgender people. And that's it's just a prime example. If we can't define what a man and a woman is, these very basic things, we get into this territory. And this is why words and definitions matter. What is a woman? And it's adult human female.
Are you so sure about that?
I am.
All right.
I am.
I'm willing to accept it.
Yep.
Since nobody else can seem to answer the damn question,
that's
a good enough answer.
I know what a woman is. I hope you guys do too.
That's what she said. Oh.
Now, one might argue that Bridges' response and statements were simply an exception and an anomaly. Yet,
anomaly.
Oh my God!
Anomaly.
Yet, if this was the case, why is it that almost every single major news outlet sided with Bridges? A video published by Newsweek regarding this interaction stated that Bridges slammed Hawley for a vicious and transphobic attack on trans people. That doesn't have anything to do with they're making it about trans people when it's really just about who can have a baby. The language is very basic. I don't understand why it's suddenly about trans people. It's not. If you're a biological female, then that the biology hasn't changed. We are not that advanced in science where we can change you down to your every little molecule, and then you wouldn't even be the same person that you are. But okay, I'm sure that will be called hateful speech. People all over the internet were calling Holly's words violent, an attack on trans people. See, I don't agree with that. I think that he's an idiot for a lot of things, but I don't think he was wrong with that. I don't think it's wrong to say that a woman is who has a baby. I've never in my life have I had to clarify that so much. It was just established. Like for me, it was just established. Was it established for you, Steve? Were you ever in question in your life that only women could have babies?
No.
Wait, what? No, what?
No, what? What was the question again?
Were you ever in your life questioning whether males could ever have babies?
No, I never questioned that.
Because why?
Because it was assumed that wasn't a thing. Biology dictated that wasn't even a possibility. It wasn't even within the realm of possibility.
It's not.
Actually. And
it's not a transphobic or bigoted thing to say that females, adult human females, or even minors can get pregnant once they have gone through puberty. That is biology. That's very basic. And the fact that that's even like that statement is considered to be like what word am I looking for? Like something that people could argue, like that it's in question at all. It's astonishing to me, mind-boggling how that's a thing, and that doesn't erase trans people. It just means that it's women that have the womb, that have all of the biology and all the components to make that happen. And not every woman has that ability. But if a woman goes to a doctor and says, I can't get pregnant, then the doctor will examine and figure out why they can't, whether it's their age or something else that's happening or whatever the issue might be. A doctor will look at that and say, oh, well, I can, But if Steve walked into the doctor's office and said, I can't get pregnant, what would they say to him?
Angela just brought up an excellent point about there was a movie in the 80s or late 70s, early 80s called Rabbit Test, where Billy Crystal played a man who got pregnant. How bigoted. Oh my God. I don't know. That's pretty great. Like that there was one, that kind of gender bending thing in the 70s, early 80s. I think it was early 80s because I remember as a kid.
And because Hollywood in movies is what? It's fiction.
Is it fiction or is it just...
I don't think that story is based on reality.
Is there an oracle somewhere just twisting the truths and spitting out fucking screenplays in Hollywood? Because they all seem to have a prophetic tone. Every single one of them is rife with propaganda, and just from the get. Have they been using AI since the 80s to manufacture these fucking terrible fucking films? I wonder how much influence the agents and the organizations that have to view these things, how much input they actually have into how much propaganda is stuffed into a film.
Did you see YepX? What he said?
What did he say?
As far as I know, YepX is a boy. He's an Audi.
He has an Audi. He said he thought he was pregnant once, but it was just constipation. Okay.
Yeah. Pregnancy feels like a lot more than just constipation.
I think
being somebody that's had both. Yeah, I can tell you.
Lady Alex was commenting on the stupid terms today, like boomer and Karen and all these things. It's like all the old names.
They're label. It's all labels.
All the old labels are way more apt though. Like if a lady was a stupid bitch, she was a fucking stupid bitch. She's just a bitch. If it was a dude and he was being a bitch, he was a stupid bitch too. It's a very universal thing. You don't have to change it to Karen. You don't have to change it to Kyle. Seriously, Karen.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these. See, there's an ant. How did the ant get in here?
I don't know.
Can
but
you
watch your cookies?
Can you just you don't have to kill it.
It's history now. Lady Alex said I thought I had a dick once, but it was a hernia.
Oh my god, you guys are gonna get me in trouble.
You can't say that. You can't say hernia on the YouTube. We ain't doctors.
We can't have fun and talk about anything because people are constantly looking for things to be offended by.
This is absolutely.
Hello, hate watchers. Go ahead and clip it.
That brings us back.
Enjoy.
Back to the hate watch. They were talking about Lady Alex had a dick. What? Yep, X was minimizing male pregnancy. So hateful.
I know. It used to be a joke, like that men would say, I'm a lesbian trapped in a men's body. Yeah. That used to be funny.
Yeah.
I used to get that all the time when I was dating women.
Such a terrible, like, Jimmy Dore, like, relies on that one so much. I've heard
whatever. It was said to me about a million times, like, especially at the gay bar when I was dating women. Like, it was just nonstop. It was like.
Not delegitimizing.
But now it's like a reality, okay? The joke has become a reality that people say that.
Well, I'm offended by your offense, okay? If you're offended, I'm offended by that.
You didn't even get the freaking ant.
I did.
No, you didn't. It's right here.
Well, get him then.
I can't.
Well, I can't.
I don't know where it went. Oh my god. It's way over here. Okay. I need you to freaking help me.
Now we're all canceled, including the ant.
Here, take it. It's on my mouse. Ah, no! Is it on me? You got it? It's on the floor. Give me my mouse back. No.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I accidentally jumped out of the studio.
Holy crap.
Yeah. The ant, we're trying to save the ant. We got him outside. Okay. The ant is fine. Don't worry about it.
It was an ant emergency.
It was. Here's back to this article. So we can finish this up real quick. I have one more on this that we're going to go over briefly. But if you want to like look into this further and all of that without all the fun commentary that we have about ants, you can look at the links in the description after the show.
You can. If you want to know about ants, go watch an ants channel.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let me see.
Lucky is my auntie. we had a brief interruption. Thank you, Teresa.
Hey, Teresa. Oh my God, you guys are the best. See, like sometimes it's so therapeutic to like come on and be able to talk with you guys. It really is. I really, really enjoy the time. You know, I know I'm canceled and all, and like you'll be canceled because you didn't like cancel me too or whatever. However, I don't know how that works. Yeah, I don't know how the canceling thing works. I don't do it. I don't tell other people to stop watching other people. I don't do that. I don't tell other people like.
I don't even tell people when they're canceled. I like them just to not know. That's the best way to do it. They're like, "Oh, dude, you canceled me." Nah, I was just kidding. I didn't really cancel you. I don't cancel anybody.
Oh my gosh!
But never tell them when you cancel them.
I know.
Never tell them when you don't. Because then they'll be confused, and that's ultimately what we're going for.
Oh, it's funny. Oh my gosh. So, if by asking simple questions, I like to do that. I like to ask a lot of questions. Okay, so this has got my attention. If by asking simple questions about which gender can get pregnant is considered a call for violence against the community, then that would mean that any form of questioning or expression of oppression or opposition, against the transgender community, or for that matter, any other group or individual's views as marginalized by the left. would become a felony under HB 4474. This also means that any religious institution or group that preaches against homosexuality or transgenderism at pride marches or other public areas in which free speech is absolutely protected would become felons under the bill if someone feels threatened or harassed. Side note, I want to stick something in here and say that if you are for freedom of speech, you are for the freedom of speech of others that you do not like what they're saying as well. And so I will stand up for the people that I disagree with, for them to be able to speak their truth as well. Yeah. Because I am for freedom of speech. And I will stick up for their rights just as much as I will for my rights.
Right.
And that's what we have to do. Because if not, it will be your speech that they will come after when someone doesn't like it.
That's how I always think of it. Like, even, I don't care what it is you're saying, as long as you're not calling for the murders of fucking people and shit. And, your hate is moderate enough that, people can go fuck themselves. They don't like it too fucking bad. Don't watch. Ultimately, that's the deal. Everybody should have that much room to be a douchebag. You should have enough room to hang yourself. That's like the deal. If you're gonna talk, then say what you mean, and fucking damn the torpedoes, man. Because fuck them if they can't take a joke. That's what I say. Also,
and what
if it don't fit, fuck it, cock it. All right.
I mean, like, what if people actually just spoke their truth? What if people really spoke their truth and they weren't afraid that a mob was going to come after them? Because that's how it works.
Did you see that?
What?
Ghost Art said the Secret Service are investigating a hazmat incident at the White House. The Secret Service has cordoned off a significant area around the White House with a full hazmat response.
No, I didn't see that. Thank you for that update.
The white suits. Thanks, Ghost Art.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let us know if we get any updates so we can update people as we go. So the bill itself states that any action of statement is considered a felony. If someone reasonably feels threatened or intimidated by those words, however, can one determine what is considered reasonable with regards to being intimidated and harassed? Like, people are going to have varying degrees of what they consider to be a harassment or intimidation, or, you know what I mean? What is really good. That's why we have these laws, in place, and we have freedom of speech for a reason. So many people on the left felt it was reasonable when Bridges stated that Hawley's question of what birthing persons means was threatening violence. However, nowhere in Hawley's statement did he ever explicitly or even implicitly come close to mentioning any form of violence. And so this is what is going to happen. This is what is coming down the pipeline. So remember this, guys. So how can we trust that this law won't result in charges against individuals expressing opposition to things such as homosexuality, transgenderism, and gender ideology with a felony? How can we trust a party that doesn't live in objective reality, as witnessed by its members' inability to give a definition for woman, with property determining if an action or statement makes someone reasonably feel intimidated, harassed? Simply put, we can't. Therefore, anyone who has respect for the First Amendment in our Constitution should strongly oppose HB 4474 and its associated bills, HB 4475, 4476, and 4478. We're not going into all of those tonight, but they're here. You can research them and you can look them up. This is just to give you some basic information about it. And genuine conservatives must begin speaking out against authoritarian, tyrannical measures that the Michigan Democratic Party is pushing on citizens, along with its national counterpart. So I am not a Republican. I've never voted for a Republican. I voted for just less than a handful of Republicans, not Republicans, Democrats in my life. So, Yeah, I don't support either, but so the whole right wing smear thing, it's not going to work. Like we could actually, you can get voting history. I can prove that I've never voted for them. So
what?
And even if I did,
Valentina Perry, I know that lady.
We do know that lady. She's coming to tell me that I'm hateful and transphobic. I know.
Oh my God! Somebody had to tell you. It was high time somebody told you.
You know.
Boop, boop, boop. I want to be a caterpillar, then I would be fast. I'd climb up to the top of trees and slide down on my hands and knees.
Wow, that's cool.
All right.
Is that from a book?
Yeah, Val's embarrassed because we shouted her up. Oh man, good stuff.
So I have another article on this that we're just going to look over real quick. Michigan can now censor you if you hurt someone's feelings. This is the Washington Examiner, guys. It is. Look at that. Imagine this is June 23 of 2023, and this is more about that HB bill 4474.
You better not hurt my feelings.
It is vague and unconstitutional censorship law that determines feelings threatened are reasonable grounds to prosecute offenders.
Good morning, worm, Your Honor.
The punishment for making someone feel threatened in Michigan is 5 years in jail and a $10,000 fine. Yeah. Can you imagine? Wow, that seems really democratic, guys. Hurting someone's feelings. You better not hurt anyone's feelings. You better self-censor. And how do you know if you're gonna? How are you gonna know if you're hurting someone's feelings? Like
of an almost human nature.
Listen, Mr. Lightning McQueen table. If you know what that is, then you might have talked to me earlier. All right, so an alternative sentence proposes community service in order to enhance the offender's understanding of the impact of the offense and the victim in the wider community. The problematic language about feelings can be found in the bill's definition of intimidation as willful course of conduct involving repeated or continuing harassment of another individual who would cause a reasonable individual to feel terrorized, frightened, intimidated, threatened, harassed, or molested, or that actually causes the victim to feel terrorized, frightened, or threatened. So, like, it's hate speech. If you say something that somebody else admits, like, this is only passed the House so far. It hasn't gotten fully passed. But I mean, the fact that it even passed there in the House is just astonishing. And let's have a quick reminder about who Julian Assange is, right? He's sitting in Belmarsh prison for what? What is it, Steve? What was the crime that he did?
Oh, your average thing. Espionage and crimes against fucking humanity.
You mean telling the truth?
Yeah, exactly. One and the same. All right, so let me just explain. I got a Lightning McQueen table. I ground scored it on the side of the road. It was awesome. It's short little table. I put it on the side where I sit over there by the desk where Lucky's sitting now, and put the soundboard on it and stuff. And it's dope. So now all the girls, Val and Lucky, have to tease me because I have a Lightning McQueen table and they don't.
And he was very excited I made him come outside. Val was cracking up. And I made him come outside so that I could have him explain his little Lightning McQueen table to her because it was really funny. And it was a good moment. It was a good laugh. We all needed the laugh. And he's already using it, Val.
I'm sorry, I can't let you borrow it.
Oh my gosh. We were watching the moon last night. The moon was like crazy. I got some cool pictures.
Distract. Just like pinged. Oh, I was watching the moon last night.
Well, anyway, no, Val and I.
Washington Examiner.
Val and I we were looking at the moon last night, like 2 a.m. because it was full and it was really cool. I actually got some cool pictures with my phone.
Right,
but
I'm gonna dip out. Let's see wrong here.
What?
Yep.
No, you didn't tell me that.
I did earlier.
No, you didn't.
Uh-huh.
All right. So anyway, yeah, this is what's happening. You know, hate speech. Oh man! And then in another part of the country, we have something going on. We have some educators speaking out about how they're being censored. So let me pull this up for everybody. It's a 6-minute clip, and we're gonna watch that. Oh. Whoopsie. Let me share that screen. Oh my gosh. React to what I'm doing. No, I don't want to make a note.
Ooh.
All right. I am going to add this in here and I'm going to play it for you. And then we'll discuss it.
I am a resident of Maple Grove, and I'm sharing a letter on behalf of an Osseo Schools elementary staff member. This spring, I was required to attend a department training called Creating Gender Inclusive Schools. The training began with a statement made by a staff member that included the statement, "No matter what the pushback, we are not going back," regarding the gender inclusion approach in our district. Some of the things that were presented by the Welcoming Schools group included the following. We were instructed to discuss our definition of gender. I immediately felt uncomfortable because I had a feeling that if I gave the definition of gender that I agree with, I would be labeled as judgmental because the first agreement given for the meeting that night was to replace judgment with curiosity. There would be no time for me to explain further that I care about everyone, even when I disagree with their belief system. We were given the definition of gender according to this speaker. Gender is determined by time and space, boy, girl, a blend of both, or neither, none of which were based on biology. A statement was also made that because of white supremacy, gender expansiveness has been suppressed. But now, because of the media, students feel free to express themselves. Hearing the mindset that exists at the upper level of our school district showed me that as a staff member, I am being pressured to teach concepts in direct conflict with my beliefs, which are not in alignment with that perspective of gender. Most concerning from this presentation was the depiction of a gender snow person. The head represents gender identity, what you know yourself to be. The middle represents sexual orientation, whom you love or are attracted to. The speaker said that for our youngest learners, we can use the words romantically attracted to if the word sexual is going to be a problem. And that even preschoolers know the difference between love for a mom or dad and love for someone else. The bottom of the snow person represents the sex assigned at birth, boy, girl, or intersex. It was stated that all of these are non-binary. He also said, yes, we are going to talk about this with young students. This is disturbing to be talking about romantic relationships with kids who are as young as preschool, not what the schools are intended for. The next topic was pronouns. The presenter started by telling us that some people are now using all the pronouns. We were told that this is not a big deal, that students feel safer at school than at home. He referenced a Google form that students could complete where they would indicate the pronouns and name that they want to be called at school and the pronoun or name to use with their parents. Is this allowed without parents' knowledge? Regardless, is it now our job to keep secrets? Why are we undermining the family and the influence of parents and/or guardians? Thank you.
So I think that's alarming when they're trying to have control over the children at school and have a different relationship and like almost like a secret with the children at school that they might not reveal to their own parents. And then also, like, this isn't California, but in California, they will take your children away if you do not affirm them. And if you are the parent who is not affirming that child, and like you're in a custody battle, that judge is siding with the parent that only in like leaning towards affirmation. This isn't actually giving children any kind of care. It's not. It's putting them on a medical path. And I'm really, really concerned about these children. This is in grade school. This is in young schools that this is happening. And you can disagree with me on it. That's fine. But that doesn't make me transphobic. It doesn't make me a bigot. It doesn't make me any of the names that you want to call me. Because I am not against trans people. They are in my life. And that's it. So none of that the other labels matter. Because they're not true. All right, I'm going to go back to this.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is John Gapp, and I'm a Maple Grove resident and an Osseo school dad, sharing the second half of the letter previously read from a district member. We were told that using our pronouns makes us a safe person, and we should ask, what pronouns do you use? What happens if, as a staff member, choose not to include my pronouns in email or introductions, or do not agree with asking students this question? We were told we need to become fluent in speaking the language of talking about kids of all genders, because here in our school, everyone gets to tell their own story. Is this really true? Do we all get to tell our story? Do I have the freedom without repercussions to discuss my personal views with students and staff in the school? I don't think so. I wonder about the people we serve in our schools who hold non-judgment care and concern for all people, yet will not affirm these beliefs. I wonder how many students will feel like I do, uncomfortable speaking up because our views of gender and sexuality do not fit this new definition. As a staff member, I am being told that if we do not affirm these choices, we are labeled as hateful and judgmental. This presentation truly impacted me in a negative way. Not only does the content come into direct conflict with my personal beliefs, but I am also concerned about the damage it will have on children in our schools. What about the families' trust in us when they send their kids to school? In my opinion, elementary teachers should model and teach what it means to be respectful, kind, a good student, and a good friend. We should teach how to get along with one another and work together as a team. We care deeply about the well-being of each and every student and are tasked with teaching a solid foundation of reading, writing, and math. It is a complex job that does not need the added burden of discussing gender and sexual identity. In addition, why should children be exposed to these ideas at a young age from someone other than their parents? Even our family life curriculum has an opt-out option. Where's the opt-out option for the items described in the LGBTQIA+ history and culture resolution? I am baffled why Osseo area district or Osseo area schools is putting significant time and resources into this topic. Approximately 50% of our students are not proficient in reading, and the same is true for math. Our focus should be on improving instruction so that each and every student leaves our schools with reading, writing, and math skills they need to achieve their dreams. District leaders should be looking closely at the schools where our students are making aggressive growth in these areas and spend time and energy and money necessary to further these efforts rather than planning the next move to spread LGBTQIA+ messages. Thank you.
So I think that was important to hear their perspective of what's going on. I'm trying to like get a variety of views from different places, and like I thought it was really important that he was saying like our students aren't like they aren't getting their actual regular math. They're not getting the like they're not proficient in these things that they're supposed to be here for, and not everybody's going to believe in the same ideology. Obviously the adults don't all agree, right? Like it's not this is new verbiage, it's new language, so not everybody's going to agree on that. Like why is that in being included now into the schools? It seems really forced. I'm gonna see what I want to scroll up here for a minute. Let me see. Yeah, Alex, I think you're right here. This is political correctness forced on minors, and it's weird because not everybody agrees the same thing. You know what I mean? Like we have something that is established, and to try and being inclusive, you're putting it onto children that you could have like none of them. Some of them might not have anybody in their life that is, you know what I mean, that is even trans. Like it was such a rare thing, but now I mean like entire friend groups are going to do it, and like something is happening, and it's really alarming to me. Yeah, Teresa. Yeah, it's very confusing for kids. Maybe we should just have them reading Judy Blume books again so they can navigate their own bodies free of influence. Yeah, I feel like we're making things like really complicated for children when the adults don't agree. Like the adults are not agreeing on this. And then like mainstream people, there's a lot of people like just that are completely unaware of this even happening. Yeah, exactly, Teresa. So many kids' books pre-talking in binary code. Yeah. Hey, John. Good to see you. As I'm not putting that comment up there about your tissue. You're funny, Oz. Got like the dad jokes. Steve stepped out, so of course it's like quiet. Usually, like he helps me fill in these quiet spaces, But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And now we're gonna kind of gear towards another a different topic. And I'm bringing up something called Lupron, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Let me make sure this is here. Okay. Let me bring this up.
Hey. I'll be back in a minute. I was still waiting.
What?
Val's out here listening to your show, so I can hear you talking.
Oh my gosh. So we're going to be talking about Lupron. So more women come forward with complaints about Lupron side effects. What does Lupron really have to do with, grown women and gender the gender ideology that is happening. Well, this Lupron is being given off-label to children as well. So I wanted to see what is this? What is Lupron? And try to understand it. So I have a clip here. I think I can make this bigger. Let me see if I can do that. Yes, I can. And we're going to watch this clip right here. And we're going to learn a little bit more about this Lupron. All right, I'm going to mute me. We'll be right back with this clip.
Investigates is reopening its extensive investigation into a powerful drug that's been problematic for patients for years now. It comes a decade after 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears exposed the devastating side effects of Lupron. Well, the drug is still around, and as Darcy shows you now, those side effects are too.
Debilitating pain. My husband can attest to it. I would, curl up in a ball in bed and cry. And
Becky Novak was being ravaged by endometriosis, a condition that causes pelvic pain, irregular bleeding, and the risk of infertility. A doctor prescribed surgery, followed by an injection of Lupron. But for Becky, the solution was just as bad as the problem.
if I had known that it was between the side effects of Lupron or endometriosis pain, I definitely would have preferred the endometriosis pain because the side effects from that medication were just absolutely awful.
So just on the page,
Amy Courtney was just 13 years old when she was injected with Lupron. She feels the effects to this day.
I lost hair. I had dental issues. My gums were bleeding. I fell into a really bad depression and bone issues, joint pain. And this has been going on for 20 years. It has not stopped.
It wasn't until 2017 that information on the risk of psychiatric events and convulsions was added to the prescribing information for Lupron used in children. Both Amy
It makes me so furious.
and Becky say they were in the dark about risks.
I was just trying to make my life normal by getting the surgery and getting the shot afterward. And it's been anything but normal ever since. And it's, it is really sad. I just, I wish it never happened.
The FDA's database currently lists more than 25,000 adverse events associated with Lupron, including suicidal thoughts, vision loss, and excruciating pain, even deaths. I started investigating Lupron in 2009.
Right now, my face is numb, my shoulders are numb, I feel dizzy. I just don't ever feel good.
It's debilitating. I can't work full time. I suffer quite a bit.
Several patients have sued Lupron's maker, Takeda Abbott Pharmaceuticals, now known as AbbVie, and the FDA did require several changes to add more side effects to Lupron's label. But many say that is not enough.
It's really sad, I think, that it's still on the market.
And now Becky worries about Orilissa, AbbVie's newest endometriosis drug.
I have gotten a lot of targeted ads for Orilissa.
But when she learned it was made by the same company as Lupron and both drugs hit the same type of hormone, she was horrified.
It's kind of like a dirty bait and switch almost to change it from an injection to a pill.
In a statement, AbbVie told us Orilissa works in a different way than Lupron. Lupron completely suppresses ovarian sex hormones in the body, while Orilissa partially lowers the level in a dose-dependent manner.
It was a change of formulation, but it still has the same adverse events. It's just that it's somewhat less.
Dr. Alan Levin is also an attorney representing a patient who's suing Lupron's maker. Dr. Levin believes Lupron and Orilissa are way too toxic for a condition like endometriosis.
You don't want to use cytoxan to treat hay fever, even though it would work, but you don't want to use those very, very dangerous drugs in a relatively benign disease process.
AbbVie says Orilissa was approved by the FDA under priority review, but does that mean it's safe? Remember that the FDA does not conduct independent testing. Big pharma companies pay for that and send their results to the FDA. That's important here because of the history of problems I uncovered with the FDA's handling of Lupron. Dr. John Garigian, who spent 20 years reviewing drugs for the FDA, stated in federal court papers a decade ago that the manufacturer intentionally suppressed knowledge about the real danger associated with the use of Lupron, misleading both prescribers and patients.
Just pausing a second right there to really bring this home. They intentionally suppressed knowledge about the real danger associated with the use of Lupron, misleading both prescribers and patients. They're prescribing this to the children. This is going to children. Off-label. Off-label prescribed to children. That's what's happening. And there are reasons that they do use this for children. We're going to go into that, but I just wanted to really hit this home. That you hear what this is doing to women. They also use this. They use this on men as well. For prostate cancer. And also it chemically castrates them. So what part of the population do you think they use that on? That's what they're giving to children. And people say that this is just a pause. Please do not, please be aware that this is, we have to look at what Big Pharma does, right? I've noticed that more of the people that are supposed to be lefties are they're supposed to be, I say supposed to be in quotes, because are the ones pushing for these things. And if you're not pro this, then you're a right winger. Then you're a homophobe. Then you're transphobe. Whatever. You're phobic. You're this. You're that. You're a bigot. You're hateful because you don't want this medication pushed on kids. And extremely freely. One that's toxic to women and it's got all kinds of lawsuits and it's not FDA approved for them. This matters to me because this is harming children, and this is going to continue to harm children until enough people start speaking up against this. This is not okay. We need brave people. We don't need people to shrink back into an echo chamber and continue with groupthink because they're not thinking critically for themselves. We don't need more of that. We need brave people to stand up and say, okay, let me look into this. Maybe people that don't agree with me, maybe they should look into this. Maybe they should put some time and put some research into this. All the links will be below, and I hope that you guys do. I hope that you guys look into this, please.
He also said their studies were inadequate.
I have complete statements from AbbVie and the FDA on our website at ktnv.com. You'll also find a link to a local support group for women suffering from endometriosis or the side effects from Lupron injections. Darcy Spears, 13 Investigates.
All right. Yeah. So that to me, that's just absolutely crazy.
Great.
That, that women are going through this. this is an investigation, and like they actually uncovered like how bad it was. I mean, you can look up Lupron side effects and like the lawsuits, and you'll find all kinds of information about it. It's crazy, and this is what they're giving to this is what they're giving to kids. And I looked all of this up a while ago, actually. Like, this was the first time Steve is, hearing that clip about how bad this stuff is. Like, it's like every time he learns a new piece of the puzzle that I've put together, it reinforces.
It reinforces the fact that we're all fucked, and shit is really whacked right now. And everybody should be paying attention to exactly how fucking wacky it is, because they're giving this stuff to children. And just on its face, it seems really, really criminal.
So this is from the FDA.gov website, right? And this is the Safety Information Adverse Event Reporting Program. This is the link for this is going to be right in the description, but you can come here and you can find out more about all of the side effects for Lupron, all of the adverse reporting on it. I mean, it's crazy, but that's there. The link is going to be below. So, you know what I mean? You can look at the different drugs. I'm just giving you this as a source, so that if you want to look up what is happening, what's been reported, all of that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to, put this is the same thing I just had. I didn't mean to click that twice. I think I put it in there twice. The same. I think.
The same thing twice?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oops. All right. Here's something from the Mayo Clinic on it. Let me bring that up. I mean, and there is just testimonials from women that have used this stuff, and all these really bad side effects from it. We're gonna get there. All right. So here you can see the U.S. brand of it is right here on this Lupron and Lupron and all that. Right here, and this is from the Mayo Clinic. So it's a synthetic man-made hormone that is similar to the natural hormone that is produced in the brain. It's used to treat a number of medical problems, including anemia caused by bleeding from urinary fibrous tumors in the uterus.
Yeah.
Cancer of the prostate that is advanced or late stage, and central pericosis puberty. So this is where it is for children, a condition in which causes early puberty in boys before the age of 9 and girls before the age of 8, or pain due to endometriosis. So precocious puberty is like rare. It's when a child gets their, they get their puberty before, 8 in girls, I think. Yeah, 8 in girls and 9 in boys. So I don't even know. Like I that would be a really, it's not without side effects, even if you're an 8 or 9-year-old and that happens to, or you're younger than that and that happens to you. Like, this has a lot of issues that it causes people. So like, I guess at that point you'd have to weigh that with, weigh the results of whether you would do that or not, because it's very rare.
I like to cut your head off so I could weigh it. Sorry. I got a little fishy there for a second. Happens.
So when it's given regularly to men, it can decrease testosterone levels, reducing the amount of testosterone the body helps treat the cancer of the prostate. So it also, if it's given to women, it decreases estrogen levels, reducing the amount of estrogen in the body and helps treat endometriosis. I cannot ever say that right. Lupron can shrink tumors in the uterus, and it decreases vaginal bleeding and prevents anemia. When it's given regularly to boys and girls who have early puberty, it slows the development of the genital area for both sexes. It will also slow breast development in girls. This medicine will delay puberty only as long as the child continues to receive it. But there is but like, I don't have the information before me, but there's certain stages of that, and like, you could only have it for so long. Like, I'm not a medical professional, but I've heard, them explain this, where you could only have that during a very short period of time, a limited amount of time, because if not, puberty doesn't just like pause and start. So I wanted to bring up something on the precocious puberty. So we could kind of like, just understand that a little bit. I try to be thorough with everything.
Yeah, man.
Make sure I look at it from, different angles, and, So this is from hormonesmatter.com. And this is from January 23rd, 2023. And Lynn Milligan. And she's an RN, BSN paralegal. And Lupron for precocious or whatever puberty, parents and patients speak out. Can you read this at all, Steve?
Mm-hmm. Let's see if you can make it a little bit bigger.
I'm trying.
Teresa says she plays spoons. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go, spoon lady.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right. Recent edition. Is that where we're starting from?
Yeah.
Okay. Recent edition in Dual Reveal and Kaiser Health News Report to the risks of Lupron's use in children with central precocious puberty or growth issues, and to Lupron's risks in general, presents an opportunity to continue the disclosures on the risks of Lupron. In a 28-year battle to expose the dangers of Lupron, I've encountered few occasions which have held hope that a spotlight would be trained on Lupron's risks. When my website, Lupron Victims Hub, was contacted last spring by Reveal Kaiser reporter who developed an interest in the pediatric Lupron victim, I had hoped that these young children, the now adult children, and the parents of these children could finally get some recognition and validation for their adverse experiences through lay news coverage. Until this reporter's interest in her Kaiser report, no media had ever been interested in addressing the pediatric population. The investigation's initial focus was into Lupron's effect in IVF and the offspring. But thankfully, there was a shift to precocious puberty. Lupron in the media coverage of Lupron's adverse effects in fertility treatment, IVF, for which Lupron has never gained FDA approval, occurred in a two-part series in 1996. Let's see. The Painful Quest for Fertility. Wait a minute. What did I do? August 4th and 5th, Boston Globe, page 1. What price pregnancy? The Painful Quest for Fertility by Dolores Kong, and immediate coverage of Lupron's adverse effects in endometriosis took place in 1999, 9 years after Lupron's FDA approval for endometriosis. I said it correctly the first time with no problem. In a 3-part Boston Herald series, see here, and there, and everywhere. But it took 24 years from the time Lupron's FDA approval for precocious puberty in 1993 for Lupron's adverse effects on the children to make news. This has been a disgrace and more than frustrating. So thank you, Christina Jewett, Reveal and Kaiser Health News Report. A considerable amount of my research on Lupron, its history, and adverse effects, as found in links on the website, was provided to the reporter and included in the Kaiser report, though surprisingly mention of my website was not. However, there's so much ground to cover that neither the Kaiser report nor the next article published on Lupron's pediatric risk, nor the next article, nor any pending article could ever possibly address all the aspects of the many troubling issues surrounding treatment of the youth or adults with Lupron or any GnRH analog, the class of drugs which Lupron belongs. For some time, I've been trying to further research the effects of using Lupron in pediatric and teen population, and I have a collection of information not yet posted on my website. The heart-wrenching emails I've received from distraught mothers or now adult-treated children compelled me to start writing a call to action to the pediatric endocrinology community, and an open letter seeking to acknowledge and address these children's and now adult problems. The draft paper has hundreds of hyperlinks and was being fortified with data from recently received FDA Lupron Depot PED adverse events reports. But due to my own personal exposure to Lupron for endometriosis and IVF, I keep getting sick with sudden repeated gastroparesis. Parisiums, I don't know, episodes, and this call to action remains unfinished. Lupron has destroyed the neurological impulses in my gut. That fucking sucks, resulting in 61 hospitalizations between 2003 and 2014.
That's crazy.
Wow. Okay, Lupron has also caused abnormal electrical rhythms in my heart. These gastric episodes are debilitating and continue unabated and frequent, kicking life and all plans to the curb and forcing everything into a stall mood, more like chaos. In the meantime, I feel that the Kaiser report was a call to action, and I believe it should be viewed and treated as such. As a result, I now have considerable amount of information that doesn't need a finish and which can be cobbled together with the hopes of amplifying the need to substantively address the problems these children and now grown adults have. And so over the course of the next 6 weeks, numerous issues addressing the use of Lupron in the pediatric and teen population will be explored.
You can stop there if you want.
Okay.
So I can't I will say that, you know, this is information that I might not necessarily be able to 100% verify or anything like that. But when I start seeing like repeat stories of the same things, then I start like saying, okay, well, it's likely, and it's listed on the drug itself that these are like side effects and things that people have had.
It's like, why do they keep the shampoo behind the hockey key at the drugstore? These damn thieves are making my hair dirty.
So one mother wrote to this person that said, I injected my daughter daily with this poison for 9 years. I was told there were no known long-term side effects. My daughter is now 20 years old and has suffered from pain and soreness in her neck, back, hips, arms, waist, hands, fingers, legs, ankles, and feet. She suffers from fear, anxiety, depression, and has self-harmed. There are days that she cannot get out of bed at times when her fear, depression, and anxiety are so out of control that she sleeps all day and stays up all night. It doesn't seem as if any doctors understand or care what she's gone through. She has been denied SSI disability, has no job. She cannot sit or stand for very long. The worst part of this is I injected this with her and I have no way to help her. I have nowhere else to turn. I mean, and these are just like more and more and more, like, and it's hard. It's hard to read, but the link will be below, and it's hormonesmatter.com. And it was heartbreaking to see some of these some of the comments that were there.
Ay, 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 ay.
And another part that they had was it's the same site, it's just under a different part of it. Like, I can show you guys real quick. Now where it says follow the money, the Lupron money trail, because there's always a money trail, right? So I really suggest you guys follow the links down below, and you'll be able to find this. And if you want to see, you know what I mean, what else is going on,
If you want
the Lupron with the children and the amounts of money. I mean, it's astronomical. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, I will. These links will be down below.
I bet the store is still earning in California. They were talking about all the theft in California and just, how many houseless people there are walking around and just like walking into stores, and lots of people just fucking ganking shit. And like, stores can't be profitable in California right now because people just walk in and steal shit. And I'm like, I bet the only stores that are really still earning decently are the little mom and pop stores, because they're armed to the fucking teeth. They ain't gonna let nobody fucking steal their shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, those people are still earning.
So, so this is from February 2nd, 2017. This is on Stat, and a drug used to halt puberty in children may cause lasting health problems. And so they've been this is not information that was hard to find. This is information that's been out about this drug for a while, and somehow this is what they're giving to children at larger numbers, higher numbers. Like, it's increasing. I think the last number I heard was it's increased like 4,000%.
4,000%.
Yeah.
Well, that's not, nothing to be alarmed about. I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, liquor stores will always make money. That's true. That's nothing to be alarmed about, though. 4,000% increase in anything is just, what do you call that?
A social contagion.
Social contagion. Yes.
Something is happening, and speaking out about it and trying to say, like, wait a minute, hang on here, has gotten me a lot of hate. So I appreciate the ones that are around, the ones that send me private messages, the ones that publicly support me as well. I take a lot of heat for this, but I believe in it. I believe that the children are being harmed and people don't know about it, and they need to know.
I believe that's absolutely true and worth the flack that we get for talking about it, because
those words don't have any meaning anymore. That hate doesn't have meaning anymore, because you know what? It just adds fuel. It just keeps me going more. It just makes me go, oh, you want me to shut up about children being harmed? I'm going to get louder then. I'm going to cover it more now.
It's fine. We just do what we do, and everybody else.
Well, I'm not going to let somebody silence me. I care about children and women, and I will continue to stand up for the rights of everybody, for every human. I want everybody to have equality. I don't want anybody to be any more or less important than anybody else.
Yeah, I know.
And I want freedom of speech.
Well, you just better stop talking.
So this article goes into grown women that took the Lupron and that had issues.
Yeah.
They had a common side effect. See, so it goes right here. None of it made any sense to her until she discovered a community of women online who describe similar symptoms and have one thing in common. All have taken the drug Lupron. Because she had, at 21, a surgeon replaced her deteriorated jaw joint. You imagine? At 21. She was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease and fibromyalgia, chronic pain condition, and her teeth are shedding enamel and cracking. At 21.
Yeah, you said it, Baba Yaga.
Thousands of parents choose to inject their daughters with the drug, which was approved to slow down puberty in young girls, but also and commonly used off-label to help short kids grow taller. What do you think those side effects are worth being taller?
Well, being taller is a very attractive feature.
The drug's pediatric version comes with few warnings about long-term side effects. It's also used in adults to fight prostate cancer or relieve uterine pain. Uterine. And Food and Drug Administration has warnings on the drug's adult labels about a variety of side effects. More than 10,000 adverse events reported filed with the FDA reflected the experiences of women who have taken Lupron. The reports describe everything from brittle bones to faulty joints. In interviews in an online forum, women who took the drug as young girls or initiated a daughter's treatment described harsh side effects that have all been well documented in adults. Women who use Lupron a decade or more ago to delay puberty or grow taller described the short-term side effects listed on the pediatric label: pain at the injection site, mood swings, and headaches. They also describe conditions that usually affect people much later in life. A 20-year-old from South Carolina was diagnosed with osteopenia. I don't know how to say that. Osteopenia.
I can't quite see it.
Right there. It's a thinning of the bones.
I think that's right. I've heard that before.
While a 25-year-old from Pennsylvania has osteoporosis and a cracked spine. A 25-year-old. A 26-year-old in Massachusetts needed a total hip replacement. A 25-year-old in Wisconsin, like Derricott, has chronic pain and degenerative disc disease. This is what they're giving to the children and saying it's a pause on puberty, guys. It feels just like I'm being punished for basically being experimented on when I was a child, said Derricott of Lawton, Oklahoma, I guess. I'd hate for a child to be put on Lupron, get to my age, and go through the things I have been through. In interviews with women who took Lupron to delay puberty or grow taller, most described depression and anxiety. Several rebounded their struggles with or at a daughter's suicidal urges. One mother of Lupron patient described seizures. And this is off-label that they're giving this to the kids. Such compliments have currently come under scrutiny at the FDA, which regulates drug safety. We are currently conducting a specific review on nervous system and psychiatric events in association with the use of GnRHN. There's a class of drugs. Okay, including Lupron and pediatric patients, the FDA said in a statement in response to questions from Kaiser Health News and Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting. So the FDA is reviewing deadly seizures stemming from the pediatric use of Lupron and other drug in its class. Well, there are other drugs similar to Lupron. It's a market leader, and thousands of women have joined Facebook groups or internet forums in recent years, claiming that Lupron has ruined their lives or left them crippled. But the FDA is yet to issue additional warnings about pediatric use, and the unapproved uses of the drug persists. And meanwhile, pediatricians and industry researchers are criticizing doctors for using Lupron to help kids normally timed puberty grow taller, an off-label practice that was shown more than a decade ago to cause harm. Off-label prescribing a legal and common, but means doctors are using drugs the way the FDA did not determine to be safe and effective. Now, this is saying that they knew 10 years ago, and this article is from 2017. I thought this was like just,
what in the hell?
I thought it was just a pause, like it wasn't harmful. There wasn't a bunch of side effects. That's what gets repeated over and over again. What is all this information?
Update.
And there's just, if you look up Lupron at all, you'll see there's just a ton of information about people being sick on it. It's bad. It's bad. All this stuff. But what they're doing is they're giving it to children.
It just seems insane in the first place.
It does. It feels
it just, it's
just having the information
so
about it is
wrong.
It just feels crazy knowing this, and then getting backlash for knowing this and speaking of this and being like, it's really simple. Look it up. There's a lot of layers to this. There's so many layers to what is happening with this that it's taken a lot of shows to really kind of dive into all of it, because they're coming at this from every freaking angle, man.
Yes, they are.
And even if you only temporarily take this one drug and you don't then go take cross-X hormones and then end up doing surgeries, they got you there. They got you with any of it. Any of the stuff, they are medicalizing you. And they are making children a forever medical patient. And for some reason, it seems like the extreme, I guess, left, I don't know even what to call them, is coming at me for presenting information and backing this up.
Yeah, well, people don't like to be informed sometimes about things that go against, other things that they've been informed about, and think they, are morally on a high ground. You can't mess with my argument on this, and then you present them with information, and they're like, oh, well, you're just a bigot.
Yeah, and it's also people that don't watch the show that have all these really strong opinions.
It's generally those people. That's how you can tell.
Or the ones that hate watch now because they used to watch.
I love them. Did we say hi to them yet? Hi, everybody that's watching. That's not.
Hi, hate watchers.
Hate watchers. Well, I guess
they might be in the
numbers are kind of low now.
They might be in the future watching.
They may be future hate watchers.
I'm sorry.
Let's just do a quick shout out to future hate watchers. Thanks for watching. We love you. Hit that like button.
However you want to interact with the video is great. We appreciate it.
Hit the dislike button. I don't give a fuck. Come on. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't care. I appreciate the likes. If you don't like it, then don't like it. Whatever.
It's all good.
I'm not doing what I'm doing for brownie points, as you can see, because I have people trying to cancel me for bringing these basic truths, these things that are backed up, that have been around for a long time. I didn't write this stuff. I'm just presenting it. So, but yeah, this has been known for a long time. Right here, one study followed 22 children for 6 months. Fleming said he described the other study as a free-for-all. a review that made it difficult to determine what dose was best for children of different sizes. Still, he suggested long-term trafficking of the drugs effects and favored approval in the absence of a better approach. The study Fleming referred to as the free-for-all conducted in 1992, according to the summary submitted to the European authorities. Fleming had no further comment when contacted recently. So, like this is all very well known. What is going on with this drug?
It's quite documented.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been going on for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, initially approved to treat prostate cancer in 1989.
Why are they still giving people this?
This is the drug that they use for people who cannot control themselves around children. You know what kind of person I'm talking about.
I do. I've seen them.
Yeah. The link for this will also be in the notes after the live stream. We will put it in there. I'm this is like,
I know that makes me sound like a Joe Biden supporter, but I have seen it.
What?
The Predators. Remember? Like, oh well, that means you like war. Because you know about Predators.
Oh yeah. Somebody, because we spoke out against a predator. They said we were Joe Biden supporters, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to us. But which one is this? Oh, and if you're curious as to how is everybody kept in line with all of this? How do they keep everybody in line? Because this is what is happening. Why are you laughing?
It's because Ghost Art.
Ghost Art, what are you doing that you're making Steve laugh? He's getting in trouble.
It's like, I am being followed by a hey watcher, hey watcher, hey watcher.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Seriously.
All I could think of was Yusuf.
They stalk me like I live rent free in their heads. It's really, it's amazing. I don't even interact with these people, and they're like, they wait. They're like, oh, we're the cancel culture vultures. So we're like watching. God, they like wait until like they see something.
Let's call Lupron crack, and maybe Hunter will buy it all up. Well, probably. As long as everybody is buying whatever they're selling, the big daddies up at the old drugstore, fucking happy as shit to hook you up. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the old Fetty on the fucking Kensington Avenue in Philly or your whatever variation.
You know what cracks me up? When people try to say I'm a op or I'm a fed or something, it just cracks me up. I'm like, really? Yeah. I'm just a poor person that's trying to bring some truth to people, because I care.
Because we're so militant and stuff.
I know. I'm like, yeah, think for yourself. Don't replace my opinion with your opinion unless you agree with it. If you challenge me on something, we can talk about it. Like, I am like the anti-programming, but yet they think that, they're like, oh, I don't know, Fed vibes. Like, are you kidding me?
I love it.
Oh, it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, I totally got the Moon Shadow reference. Ghost Art.
So if you
saw it.
So there's some remarkable tactics that happen, as you guys have seen, that the trans rights activists have. They have censorship on their side. They bully people. They
got a little juice card going.
Well, when you can. Apparently when you can
juice card
decide to ID as a certain thing, then and become part of a protected class. I mean, why not? Why would it not be rising 4,000% in numbers? Like, is there just no possibility that some people are just taking advantage of it?
Yeah. It's funny. The only feds I've ever had in my life were like the ones listening to the phone calls, allegedly. You know? Trying to figure out where the LSD was. But that's like an entirely different subject. And
Okay, and that's not anywhere.
not even real.
Yeah. Okay.
From a
So
different timeline.
yeah, the exactly. It's all alleged.
Bless you.
So
sir.
this is.
Mormons.
Thank you. Okay, this is from a Spectator. This is December 2nd, 2019. But this like kind of like gives you a little bit behind the scenes. Like how did we come about to this where all this stuff could be happening and like, you know, but yet and people are aware of it, the information is there, but yet we still have it happening. So this document reveals the remarkable tactics of trans lobbyists. This is important because this is how this is able to thrive, right? Like this is how they're able to continue to do this to children, and people are just like, no, you can't speak up about it. And I'm telling you, we need people to be brave. We need to have these conversations, and we need to bring ourselves into a firm grasp of reality.
Reality? Now you're just talking crazy talk.
No, actually.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
So,
Yeah.
a great deal of the transgender debate is unexplained. One of the most mystifying aspects is the speed and success of a small number of small organizations in achieving major influence over public bodies, politicians, and officials. How is a certain idea taken hold in so many places so swiftly?
Social contagion.
Did we get your attention? People and organizations that at the start of the decade had no clear policy on or even knowledge of trans issues are now enthusiastically embracing non-binary gender identities and transition, offering gendering neutral toilets and other changes required to accommodate trans people and their interests. These changes have, among other things, surprised many people. They wonder how this happened and why no one seems to have asked them what they think about it or considered how those changes might affect them. Some of the bodies that have embraced these changes with the greatest zeal are surprised. The police are now famous social liberals, but many forces are now at the vanguard here. Even to the point of checking our pronouns and harassing elderly ladies who say the wrong thing on Twitter. How did we get here? I can't think we can discount the idea, but this is a simple question of organizations following a changing policy. Bluntly, society still doesn't know much about transgenderism. If you work, this is based in London. So if you work in central London in certain sectors, live in a university town or at the university, or have children attending probably middle class school, you might have some direct acquaintance. But my bet is that most people don't know any trans people and don't have developed views about how the law should evolve with regards to their status. Now, I'm saying that the same thing is kind of like happening in the United States. There's a large part of the population that doesn't really know what's really happening, or they haven't been paying enough attention to know all the ins and outs that we've been covering here. And there's a lot to it. It's a lot to learn. It's not a very simple thing. It's very complex. A lot of layers to this.
A lot of ins and outs. There's a lot of what have yous.
Yeah, there is. So the question again, how did organizations with small budgets and limited resources achieve such stunning success? Not just in the UK, but elsewhere. Well, thanks to the legal website Roll on Friday, I have now seen a document that helps answer that question. The document is the work at Denton's, which is one of the world's biggest law firm. the Thomson Reuters Foundation. Did I say that right?
I think so.
An arm of the old media giant that appears dedicated to identity politics of various sorts in the international lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex youth and student organization. Okay, I just want to like make a note right here. Lesbian, gay, and bisexual are your sexuality. Transgender is about whether you identify as a different gender other than the one that is observed at birth. It's not assigned, right? The doctor doesn't give you that gender, but the doctor looks at your body and your genitalia, and then he says, yes, this is a boy, or yes, this is a girl, or intersex, which is a medical condition. Okay, that's coming up here on the list. Queer, which I think is still an offensive word. It, not everybody believes that, but I find queer to be offensive. It was used in a derogatory way, and it always was. And I know that people want to use it again. I still find it to be an offensive word. Like, someone else can use it all they want. I'm not going to use it. Intersex, which I just explained, which is a medical condition. And if you haven't seen the show with Emmeline Dowd, who came on, please check that out. She's been on twice now. Really great. A lot of information, and she has experienced these things firsthand. So, and youth and student organization. Okay, so they found the both Denton's and the Thomas Reuters Foundation note that the document does not necessarily reflect their views. The report is called Only Adults, Good Practices, and Legal Gender Recognition for Youth. Its purpose is to help trans groups in several countries bring about changes in the law to allow children to legally change their gender without adult approval. Yep, you heard that right. Without adult approval. And without needing the approval of any authorities. Like, that's very confusing. This has got to get confusing for, like, just identification purposes and, like, medical records and stuff. Like, this is, you can just change that. I mean, okay. Because we know that, a men's heart is different than a woman's heart in size-wise, right? Male and female, we have different, we're down to our very like chromosomes. We are different. So if you change your gender legally without like telling your parents, or you can just change it without the approval of anybody, then like what happens if you go to the doctor and they see that your gender is one but it's really not, and they treat you based upon the other, the other gender. That could be extremely harmful.
I'm just not anymore, Lucky.
What? Not anymore? What? Like, are they gonna have to wear medical ID bracelets? Like, is this like, you know what I mean? Because
everybody will just get the little, subdermal microchip.
We get to get tattooed on us. What are
tattoo little branding?
No, I'm serious though. Like this can be extremely harmful to people if they go to the hospital and they get treatment. It's the opposite gender that they are.
Absolutely, I understand what you're saying.
Like the heart rhythmia is different for women than men. Like the size, everything.
That's why you got to have the barcode stamped into your flesh there at the.
No, I don't want a barcode. The report is.
Let's say it's supposed to identify you.
No, okay. So yeah, children can legally change their gender without adult approval and without needing the approval of any authorities. Like this just seems creepy to me. Like when kids are like being given like the authority to like without lowering the age of when they can do other things, you're just suddenly lowering all the age limits for like all these other things. Like they can't get a tattoo right? Because that can have effects, and their bodies are still growing. You can't go get a tattoo, but you can make life altering decisions for your body medically forever as a child, and you have to just go along with it. So we hope this report will be a powerful tool for activists and NGOs working to advance the rights of trans youth across Europe and beyond, says the foreword. Oh, man.
Very strange, the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you're giving kids the right to just change their gender, like sometimes kids, they don't get to pick their own bedtime or their own diet, or, you know what I mean? Like, what they wear, you know what I mean? Like that, like you give them age appropriate choices for things, but just like, just giving them a free for all with this, though, which is a major medical decision. It just doesn't sit right with me.
It seems a little.
Does it seem a little bit?
It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah, like it. Yeah.
A little counterintuitive.
But it's like, if you don't go along with this stuff,
you're horrible. You're a bigot.
Yeah. You don't go along with it, you're a bigot, you're hated, you need to be canceled, and, like, if you're a parent, then they want to take your kids away from you. So why are they why are lobbying groups trying to remove parental consent? That's really, like, what I really want to know. Why would they do that?
Well, then, if they get to use the litter box and stuff, Snork, I mean...
What? What is happening? Do I need to look at this chat? I'm not looking at the chat.
Put this chat in timeout right now. I will turn this chat around. It got on the subject of laboratory rats, and Snorky assured me that, they get to use the toilet or the litter box.
Oh.
So, I mean, that seems like a lot of choices for a rat. But okay. Very advanced rats. Scientific rats, really, when you get down to it.
I mean, it feels like we're in like a Twilight Zone.
Definitely.
Like, it does, and like Steve will look at me like, "Oh God, we're gonna cover this again." But then I bring him more information, just like, you know what I mean, like, and then he's like, "Oh."
I get to a point where I'm like, she'll be listening, like she was listening to Jordan Peterson, and this lady like breaking it down, really great interview and stuff. What I caught of it, but I can't process it anymore. It's too much stuff. Too many details about horrible fucking things that have occurred to fucking children and shit. Like, I can't, I had my own traumatic stuff when I was a kid, and it has this triggering effect where thankfully my brain just goes bang, and switches, and music starts playing in my head, and I'm just like, whatever is happening, whatever she's saying, or whatever somebody is saying on the TV just kind of blends into some weird fucking word jazz soup into my brain, and I just zone it right out. And that's the only way I can really process it in small pieces. And then when everybody flips the script because we're talking about these subjects and acts like we're such hateful people for fucking talking about a thing that obviously needs talking about because other people are just denying that it's happening, or just, calling names, you're a right winger because you believe this. Like, no, caring about the safety of kids and their well-being has nothing to do with fucking some imagined concept or paradigm of wings belonging to a left or a right. It's fucking ridiculous. It's like, you either care about fucking children or you don't.
Oh.
And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm at the point where I I've had enough Twitter people acting like just insane people, making up things and conflating things, and well, you said this and that and this and that, and like, no, it's never in good faith. It's not a discussion. And then once they've screamed at you as much as they can, and then they block you, and then they hide behind the block and still talk shit about you, and try to get people to fucking hate you from beyond, when you're not even paying attention to what they're doing anymore.
Yeah, like not even interacting with them.
It's crazy to me. Like, and there's only like so much of that I'm willing to put any kind of energy into, man. I don't want to go through that. That's just silly. That's a waste of like my positivity.
Yeah, we're not feeding it. That's it. Like, yeah. That's it. We're just not going to feed that bullshit. So this is Reuters investigates, and this was shared with me. And this is the medical treatments don't begin until the onset of puberty, typically around 10 or 12. So these are puberty blockers, U.S. patients ages 6 to 17 with prior gender dysphoria diagnosis, initiating puberty blocker treatment. And this is just a chart to show like just how it's, even up until 2021, how it's gone up exponentially. So in 2017 it's 633, 2018 759, 2019 897, 2020 it's 1,101.
Okie dokie.
2021 it's 1,390.
I noticed that there's a trend happening there.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's trending upwards.
Yeah. And the numbers just keep going up.
What did you say? It was 4,000%?
4,000% increase.
Yeah.
But this is just showing the scale of it, you know.
Uh-huh.
That's just blockers. That's,
yeah, and the parents who have, you know, done this to their child don't want anyone fucking talking about it. And that's tragic too, because you know, a lot of those children are just harmed from this, and are, you know, there's a lot of harm going on and not a lot of harm reduction. So I think this is a form of harm reduction that we're trying to do by talking about it.
Yeah, because we care about these.
All the hater people can, you know, try to wrap their tiny little minds around that, and, you know, we'll just keep doing what we're doing, because that's what we're going to do anyway.
And, you know, you might have seen that the headline for the show said that transgender toddlers are being treated at Duke, UNC, ECU.
Yeah, some fine schools.
Yeah.
North Carolina.
I need to go back to where
Beautiful North Carolina
we were before. Where is the original email? Okay, there it is. I closed it on accident, and I need to get it. Is it this one? I was shocked when I saw this. Like,
why are we cycling here? What the hell is happening here?
Huh?
You were like, you had a little spinny thing there on my screen.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
I was spinning?
You was spinning. It was turning and nothing was happening. And now it is happening.
All right. Great. Well, we have a news clip that we're going to show you. Because this was alarming to me. They are transitioning toddlers. I'm serious. I'm absolutely serious right now. Duke University Health in the United States, 2 years old. UNC, 3 years old. And ECU Health, 4-year-old. These top medical schools are transitioning babies, toddlers. How does a toddler know?
Yeah, that's the problem. Is like, how does a toddler know? Who's looking out for this? Who's looking out for these kids, man? What the fuck? What kind of fucking dumbass do you have to be convinced? Oh yes, my toddler.
Top medical schools in North Carolina are offering.
It's insane to me. Like how is that even possible? How do you arrive at a point where you're like, I'm going to take the baby down to the college because I hear they got this nice program for gender affirming, because I feel like my 2-year-old is trying to tell me something. Because I put the pink blanket in there and she did not respond. But I put the blue blanket in there and she responded. I think she wants to be a boy. Boom. That's about how fucking bright the scenario is.
Yeah, so we're gonna play a clip here, and I'm sorry to anybody who's offended that it's a Fox News clip that's on this campus reform channel here website, but I can't show you evidence of this where it's not coming from other, like when there's not a lot of people talking about this.
No,
my choices are limited.
It's selective.
So I show you what I can show you. Okay. I'm going to mute us and play this clip.
Social transitioning treatments for children as young as 2 years old. Duke, UNC, and ECU have these programs which allow for treatments for children that suffer gender dysphoria. The Education First Alliance exposed the experimental treatments. Founder Sloan Rackmuth and board member Dr. Nancy Anderson both join me now. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Sloan, I want to go to you first. Tell us, you guys, your group has exposed this, but how bad is it?
Well, it's really bad. We've been told for years by the left that this isn't going on. And if it is, it's maybe 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds here and there. But it is going on. You're right. In the state of North Carolina, well known, by the way, for its wonderful medical programs, we have Duke, which transitions children at 2. We've got UNC, who transitions children at 3. And then ECU has just added a program that is saturating not only rural health communities, but also schools, and they start at 4. I mean, these big systems cover the entire state of North Carolina, and they're doing it in family medicine. That's right, your corner doctors, their aim is to turn these places into pill mills for children, as young as 2, starting with the social, and then moving with the hormones and so forth.
I mean, this is absolutely outrageous. When I read this, ages 2 to 4, Dr. Anderson, I want to talk about what she was talking about with the primary care physicians. So does this mean that ultimately the parents have to take their kids in to do this? I mean, they're 2 and 4. It's not like they're driving there. So is this falling on the parents? And as far as the primary care physicians, are they being threatened to do this, or is this just what they think needs to be done?
No, medicine has become an activist entity. There are activists that are now physicians and medical providers who have radical progressive ideologies, who have no problem with socially transitioning 2, 3, 4-year-olds in gender affirming care. And just to clarify, these institutions are very specific about the mode of treatment as gender affirming care, which means that this is a pathway, a highway that you can't get off of. As soon as the child thinks or pretends they might be a different sex, then that must be affirmed. And no questions asked lets you be labeled a transphobe. And there are doctors who are adamant about this type of treatment.
But Dr. Anderson, how in the world is a 2, 3, or 4-year-old questioning their gender? I mean, some of them are still in diapers.
Sir. I mean, this question is completely legitimate. Like, what they're saying is legitimate. And like, I've looked at this. We're going to look at something right after this that also, showcases exactly what they're saying here about the same hospital. Like, this is just.
How do these people, how do the professors,
how is this even a question? Like,
how do the staff of professional psychologists all agree on this twisted fucking ideology invented by fucking documented insane
predators? Yeah. We'll just say predators.
That's fucking crazy to me. Like, how do you guys all just adopt these ideas? Like, oh no, a child can tell what their sexuality is when.
Well, I can explain that to you because I heard that today about Dr. Money. I heard that in the interview. Yep. They spoke about it. What happened is it was the Reimer twins. And Dr. Money experimented on them, and he published information on one set of twins, which he was actually abusing when they were coming down and once a year to talk to him. But like, we're gonna have to go into them separately. Yeah. But basically, his information wasn't questioned. It was based upon one study, and it became written like just, like that was it. It became indoctrinated into like the medical field. And even 20 minutes later, and it was one person that he said could, like, you could raise them as a different gender. We've proven that that's not the case with our guest Emmeline Dowd that came on. She was born intersex, and she proved it. And she grew up. She was another example of a person who grew up in that way, where she was raised as a boy, even. So, and it didn't work out. Like, her body, like, not only rejected it, but, and so, yeah, Dr. Money's ideology is, it became just truth. And then it was never like, nobody ever corrected it. Like, it's just still there as like being like this factual thing, like one case that he built that was completely a lie. He experimented on twin boys. One of them, one of the Reimer twins, there was an accident, terrible accident, when they went to go circumcise him because he had issues. I don't remember the exact name of what it was that they had an issue with, but it was something with their urinary tract, or the uterine. And the machine accidentally, basically burned off the little boy's
Winky
parts, and it was a horrible accident, and the machine was set up wrong. And
you can say Winky on YouTube, can't you?
I think so.
All right.
But this horrible thing happened, and eventually they raised him as a girl because Dr. Money said to do it. Like, they saw an ad for him on TV, and he was giving them promises that, like, you just have to do this. And so he had them raise that child as a girl and said, no, you inflict all girl things on this one child. You got to change her name to Brenda. It's a girl now. And, I'm going to have to, there's actually a book I want to get to on the Reimer twins and what happened with them and where this all kind of started. It's actually like 3 books that I really want really bad. So if you want to help me get some books on these topics so I can help further understand and discuss it and, help explain it to more people. There are links if you want to help us get a book. I think one is $10, other one's like 15 or whatever. But it's what happened is just it just hasn't been challenged enough, or I guess, or because the people have challenged it. They've challenged Dr. Money's, the language.
Yeah, there's court cases as well, right? Against doctors.
Well, and what happened with the Reimer boys is that the one that turned into a female actually went back to being a male later on in life, found out, and he eventually later on ended up just like committing suicide. So it's awful that it happened, and his brother, his twin, died of opioid overdose. So it's a sad story, and that's what the ideology is based upon. And there's, we'll have to link to that podcast that Jordan Peterson won, because the doctor, Dr. Miranda, she goes into a lot of the details. It's mostly her expressing it. It's not really Jordan Peterson as much, and so that's why I like.
Yeah,
it was a really good
It
interview.
was good what I heard of it, because it was mostly just the doctor explaining things and talking about the history.
I mean, we don't agree with him on everything, but I think he did a great job. That was a really good interview.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go back to this. So she just asked a question about, how can these kids be deciding this? I'm going to rewind it just a little bit, and then I'm going to play it.
2, 3, or 4-year-old questioning their gender. I mean, some of them are still in diapers.
That I don't know. I think it must come from external factors at that point. Parents and activist friends. We have whistleblower stories out there from Washington University of St. Louis and other parents who talk about how they've been indoctrinated in these progressive ideologies, and they genuinely believe that the child can choose any gender they want. But as soon as they might start questioning or listening to other opinions, they're told they're being transphobic. And the child is kept on this pathway by activist medical professionals. It's incredibly unfortunate. I personally don't understand it. I think it's against the ethics of do no harm. Mm-hmm. None of this happened when I trained in general surgery. This wasn't even an issue 10 years ago.
Oh, I know. This is something that's popped up. I really think we're just getting a good handle on it and seeing what's happened in the last year or so. Sloan, tell us what's going on with the Youth Protection Act in the House. Has there been any movement on it? Where's it stand?
Well, we had a wonderful bill called the Youth Protection Act, and it would do several things. Number one, it protects a child's rights by, eliminating the ability for physicians to prescribe these hormones and puberty blockers, which we know and these organizations acknowledge causes sterility and possible suicide. So that's one bucket. Second one is parental rights, a right for parents to not only know what the heck is going on, but a right to sue up to 20 years after these treatments. Also, whistleblower protections. Actually, you hit on this important thing. Are doctors being forced to do this? We don't know because they're under such strain. So this bill would have provided whistleblower protections that the doctors could come forward. We need that in medicine. This bill, by the way, went up for a committee vote yesterday, has been completely gutted so that the only thing is left is no surgeries done on minors. Well, to our knowledge, in a public institution, surgeries, thank goodness, are not done on minors. So it really has no impact. But I'll tell you this, if action isn't taken before Thursday on this bill, gosh, that's tomorrow, this bill will die. And now we know that we've got 2 to 4-year-olds being exposed to this toxic, potentially deadly social movement.
You know, I'm never one to tell parents how to raise their kids, but this sounds criminal to be doing this to your children. It's just not right. And of course, we did reach out to the schools. We have not yet heard back, but Sloan and Dr. Anderson, thank you so much for your time this morning. Good luck to you on this.
Thank you.
Sorry, I know I try not to play like any of the mainstream, media.
It's sad how that works.
but that's like, this is like one of the only, the few that are speaking up that I found this clip and I thought that it was important enough.
I was going to say that I think
to digest it.
The idea of people watching the news for years and stuff, right? Watching the MSM for years makes your brain go, oh, Fox, if you're used to the other one, right? Or if you're used to Fox, then you're like, oh, cool, and when they see I don't
like any of it.
Whatever. I'm saying there's a trigger thing that they've built into the bias, like that's like automatic, that like makes you feel anxiety or something, like
I'm wrong if I play Fox, but I'm not wrong if I use MSNBC or something.
Thing like a fear reflex or something happens where you're just like, nope, I'm not watching that because I can't hear anything they're saying. and then it works exactly the opposite for the other side. It's just so crazy how they've absolutely done that to this nation by all these years of television programming.
I just don't like either. Like, really,
No.
I mean, if they're speaking out against, about this, then it is, and you can hear the propaganda and the little bits in there. That doesn't mean because I play it, I endorse everything that they're saying, but it is a perspective that we're getting, right? Because that's what I try to do, is bring different perspectives and give you my opinion based upon like what I'm seeing, and we're not always going to get everything right, and we're not asking you to replace our opinion with yours. So,
or yours with ours.
Yeah. Whatever.
Or vice versa.
I don't even agree with Steve all the time.
Hey, stop disagreeing with me.
Okay. So, in the video, the host touches on the 3 current institutions: Duke Health, UNC Health, and ECU Health. All provide programs to treatment of children that suffer from gender dysphoria at ages as young as 2 to 4 years. And then, like, in North Carolina is some of the nation's top medical schools that offer social transitioning treatments for children. And Education First Alliance is exposing these programs to the public, is what this goes on to say. It's really bad. This is quote, "It's been really bad. We have been here for years by the left that isn't going on, and that it is." Oh yeah, we've been hearing for years. It's really bad. We have been told for years by the left that this isn't going on, and if it is, it's maybe 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. Rashmith stated, but is going on in the state of North Carolina. Like, they're like, no, it is. It's happening. Like, we have proof that it's happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, for the large majority of it, that is what I hear from the left. Oh, it doesn't matter because it's a small amount of people.
It's not a big deal. You're blowing up the right's talking points.
And I'm like, excuse me, if children are being harmed and people are ignoring it, then it matters.
Kids are being harmed, period. It matters. So that's the thing. People aren't ready to, stop being so fucking, binary. Well, that's a Republican thing, or that's a Democrat thing. It's like, shut up. Just,
It's just a thing. It's a problem that's happening. It's largely, being ignored. And do you want the complete opposite of what you think? Do you want those people to be the ones that are only covering it? Like, do you want them to have the monopoly on this topic? So, like, when somebody hears about it, they're like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to listen to this over here to people that might not be as accepting. We have trans people in our life. Like, we're not against anybody. I'm part of the LGBT community.
Unicorn Farts Collective 2024. Right?
So this is by Sloan Rochmuth, May 1st. May 1st. Transgender toddlers treated at Duke, UNC, and ECU. So this is, again, this is the ages that they are starting these children.
Mm-hmm.
Duke Medicine opened its gender clinic in 2015 to offer a wide variety of services under one roof. The clinic treats children as young as 2 for gender dysphoria. Like, that's just insane to me. How can a 2-year-old like even have that concept, or even have such gender dysphoria at the age of 2? How do you even recognize that? Because, like, when my daughter was little, like, she wore all different colors of clothing. She didn't, people would ask me what her gender was because they didn't know, because she would be in whatever. or like plain clothes, like plain overalls with a whatever shirt that was like, you know, it could have been green or yellow or something that just wasn't pink or blue or purple or, you know, like with a truck on it or a princess on it. Like people couldn't tell because I didn't stick to all that like binary bullshit. I've just never have been like that. Like, this is just putting way too much on children. Why are we putting all these adult decisions on children and making them think that they can change their gender? You can change the cosmetic appearance of your gender to more closely align with the opposite gender. You can do that.
Yes, you can.
With a 68% like complication rate. That's what they're doing it at.
Mm-hmm. Pretty complicated, I'd say.
And that's just the surgeries alone. I mean, like, it's just like, how is a baby that's 2 years old able to like, you know what I mean, to consciously make that decision? Like, I didn't even pierce Skyla's ears when she was little until she asked for it, and then I took her to the ear place, and I was like, oh, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna look at them do it to somebody else. You sure you want to do that? No, I don't want to do that. So I would ask her, are you ready to watch it happen and see if you want to do that? I'm talking just getting your ears pierced. Mm-hmm. And she would go and we would look at that, somebody like do it like at the mall or whatever. And she would see how much pain they were in, and she didn't want to do it. Eventually she decided that she was ready and we went and did it. But I waited for her to be old enough to do that. And then, like, I still gave her the choice on it. Like, okay, well, if you want to do it, I want you to see what, like, you need to know what to expect. It's going to hurt. I didn't lie to her. I wasn't going to be like, oh, yeah, you'll be fine. It just stings for a second. No, it hurts. It hurts getting something rammed through your ear. They don't do like hollow needle piercings like they do for other kind of piercings like back then, you know, like, and I would have like, you know, preferred to have taken her to a actual professional tattoo shop, but I didn't even think that like you could do something like that. But anyway, you know what I mean? Like, even with something like that, like, I didn't go and do that when she was a baby. I waited until, like, you know, like, she was old enough to ask and then go and see it happen. Like, and this is something that you can take out. Like, it's not, you know, if you take care of it, it's got a really low risk. I mean, like, how many people have their ears pierced?
Yeah, sure.
You know? That's what I did.
Reversible.
Yeah, you can take that out. It will like likely heal up. If you don't put anything in your ear, you might have a scar there. That's it. Tiny ear scar. But later on down here in the article, this brings up the program, and this is the UNC gender climate intake form here. You know, children, it says young as 3 to 11. For psychoeducation and support for child and family. Like, why are you there? Gender identity, male, female, non-binary, trans, gender queer, something else.
Something else.
Pronouns. This is a rewriting of the language, and it's just, you know, this is a lot for people to understand. And the fact that they're doing this for children that age, it's mind-boggling to me.
It is mind-boggling. I don't understand it at all. How could that be a thing? How is there a group of adult people discussing 2-year-olds And like, you know, we should have a clinic for that. We need to affirm these children at 2 and 3 and 4 years old. Are they like huffing chemicals at work? What are they doing? Well, how is that even a thing? How high are those doctors? Are they all just spun out on Xanax and fucking Zoloft? What is their deal, man? I don't understand it. I don't get how you arrive at that point where you're like, these children need their sexuality affirmed.
Well,
They
even
can't
questioned,
they can't
like,
even walk. How can they? It's just ridiculous. It's just super fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. Does that make me like a bad guy because I think it's just utterly, profoundly ridiculous?
no, I don't think so. How can that make you a bad guy? Like, I mean, I mean, we have to remember that we are being poisoned from absolutely every angle. Okay. And I'll say it as clearly as I can while I'm on this platform, our air, our water, our food, our medicine.
I got to believe it's mostly virtue signal. Like, how else can you get into that mindset where you think you know better because of these insane fucking doctrines that these crazy doctors, fucking predatory douchebags, for lack of a better term, came up with, and they just take this as gospel. This is the word of Dr. Money. It is sacred. Even Dr. Money, though, brought that point up, pointed out that men do not lactate. That's not a thing. That's a female characteristic.
Yeah, he acknowledged that men don't lactate or ovulate or menstruate. Mm-hmm. They don't go through those things.
3 things pretty good there.
So this is great. We're gonna wind up with this for the night. This is a chart that somebody made, and this is showing how the kids are funneled into this. Okay, so this Grammy Brown or Bauman, Grammy Bauman. Is that how you say that? Bauman. Okay. So I created this graphic for all of us to use when explaining how the TQ cult turns vulnerable kids into damaged adults. I wanted a simple model we could quickly show to someone with little knowledge of this issue so they could easily understand the essence of what's happening. The mind and body modification trap. Okay, so he explains this through some tweets below, and I wanted to show this because I thought it was interesting. So start out with the vulnerable children on the top, right? And they're exposed to it. They're exposed to it in their schools, from their peers, from everywhere, social media, right? Uh-huh. So the reality modification, which is they're exposed to the lies and the ideology. Then the next layer is the mental modification, the grooming and indoctrination. The societal modification, which is the parents and the behavior. So like when they're socially changing. The chemical modification, which is the puberty blockers and the cross-sex hormones. And then eventually it goes right into surgical modification, removal of healthy body parts.
So it's kind of like one of those things like when you make the sausage and it just grinds it all up. And you got at the bottom just sausage.
No, I wouldn't necessarily call it sausage, but...
Well, damaged adults, my metaphor is sausage.
Yeah, well, I mean, they kind of go through the whole... the whole process. So, this is what his tweet says. It says, the model covers the whole process, which starts before transition. I want to avoid the word transition, as it's a TRA term, the trans rights activist term, that implies a person is actually changing sex, which they're not. All they end up as is a modified, damaged version of the sex they've always been. And you might not agree with everything that he's saying here and how he phrases it.
Right.
Some of it's not as sensitive as I would have written it. As an affirmative to transition, I have coined the term mind and body modification. This encapsulates, oh my God, all of transition, step 3 through 5, plus the pre-transition steps 1 and 2. That get the kids into a slippery slope in the first place, and the whole thing is a trap. By the way, if I was discussing this issue with a person who has not used the term transition or gender affirming care, I'd state that these terms are misleading. And it is far more accurate to talk about a process of mind and body modification. We must control the language, he says. There's a lot of mind modification that goes on before transition begins. By reality modification, step 1, I'm referring to those elements within a child's environment that initially confuse the child around the notions of reality, blurring the distinction between fact and fantasy. And think about like all the pride events. Like when you see the pride events, what are you seeing there now? You're seeing fuzzy people in fuzzy costumes and
rabbits.
The dog, like the dress up like leather dog masks and like some stuff that's like definitely not appropriate for children is happening at these pride events that I would have been absolutely shocked and embarrassed if I had seen them with my child. If that had happened, I would have been absolutely mortified. But these parents are just there with their children, and there's a time and a place for things and children, and there's a time and a place when, you know, you don't do things in front of children. That's just all there is to it.
True.
It's not about being a prude. It's about being respectful and not exposing them to things that are adult things. This is their early exposure to the cult lies and ideology. For example, their mere appearance of the bearded drag queen or a furry begins to modify the child's sense of reality, as would a teacher using the wrong sex pronouns. Yeah, it's very confusing. Like they're suddenly living in a world where they get to decide things, and it's fantasy. Like it's really blurring all of that. It's blurring the lines of everything. Mental modification in step 2 only occurs if the lies are being accepted by the child. If they are, indoctrination into the ideology proceeds. I think it's essential to distinguish between steps 1 and 2, as many kids do not get sucked in beyond step 1. I mean, you think about it, like when it comes to like stuff like Santa Claus, like we've covered this before. When it comes to Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, we are lying to our children, and we are rewarding behavior when we are doing things like that. And I fell for that too. I'm not like beyond criticism with this. I'm criticizing like what I did as a parent as well, and the fact that I did repeat things like born in the wrong body, and you know, I'm humbling myself and telling you that I also did use terminology and things, and I said things that were part of the language that I am now like I won't use. I don't use because I understand now what is happening and I see it. You know, everybody can get sucked into things, and it's okay to like take a step back and look at it and go, okay, wait a minute. There's more to this. There's more to this. What is happening? And realize that, you know, like it's okay to do that. It's healthy to do that. It's not healthy to just continue in an echo chamber and not question anything because that's what you just are getting fed back to you. That's not healthy. It might feel real good, real affirming, but it's not healthy. It's not reality. That's the thing. There's a difference, and if you can see what I'm implying here is that there's an echo chamber reality and there's actual reality where you have to face things that are not easy to always face. But we have to face them because look what the reality is if we don't. So, and then he goes on to say, yes, they've seen and heard confusing stuff and one foot on a slippery slope, but the other is still on solid ground. It's essential for parents to be aware of which elements their kids are exposed to, as this is the easiest part of the trap to extract them from. We'd all agree that prevention is better than cure. So pushing back against reality modification is where we can make the biggest difference to the young generation coming through. Please share and retweet if you think this is useful. I'll make sure that we add the link to this tweet if you want to have it, or you can screenshot it, whatever it is, if you want to have it, or use it against me later on. Because I already know. I'm not saying what I'm saying out of hate. I'm saying it out of, the need to share the information that I have and that I feel is important. I feel like it's being missed, and there's a lot of things that are really important, and keeping generations safe. Not having a generation of kids that are being harmed by these medications and by surgeries. I'm hoping to soon have somebody that has transitioned and has detransitioned on.
Safe, smafe. Yes. Okay. Well, we did it. Did we do it?
We did it.
We did it. I knew we could do it. We did it.
So we're going to wrap it up for the evening. Thank you for your support by watching. Whether it's because you love us or you hate us. That's all right. We appreciate the watch time.
We do. Thank you, all the haters and all the lovers and all the other people. We can't do it without you. And
thank you to our Patreon supporters. We have a very few Patreon supporters, and we really appreciate you guys and our members on the channel. And, please be brave and speak up if you are able to. And if you agree with what, like, speak up. Whatever it is, voice your opinion, please. Yeah. I hope more people voice their opinions.
Speak up.
Yeah.
Let's see you. Everybody, come on. We love you. Thank you for watching.
Good to see you, Baba.
Did you want to go down the comments?
Good to see you, Vicky. Yeah, I want to say goodnight to our people. Good night, Gray Walker. Yeah, I've been talking about this stuff since like the beginning that I started the show. Well, we didn't talk about it directly about a lot of the ideology exactly. We've evolved, but we talked about a lot about matriarchy versus patriarchy and like the gender divide and all the things like this. And so, yeah, we've been covering this kind of stuff too. And it was a little bit like lighter on it. It was more mixed in then, but. Much love, Oz. But yeah, Grey Walker, I'm glad that you speak out about this as well. Like that makes a difference. It really, really does.
Yeah, it does. And thank you, everybody. Thanks, Oz. Thank you, Ghost Start. Did you see the thing about Ghost Start's mom's ears closed up, so she's got the earrings as like a wind chime?
Oh no!
She's thinking about getting them pierced again.
Oh, she should go to a tattoo shop if she's gonna do it. Like it actually, because of the way that they do it at a tattoo shop, it's actually like it sounds scary, but it's a hollow needle, so it just removes that little bit. It's less traumatic for the ear.
Less painful.
Yeah, it is. It is less painful to go to a tattoo shop.
Yep. I mean, it still stings a little bit, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my cartilage one
I've been
done.
debating getting a septum ring for fucking decades.
I have other piercings that you can't see.
Maybe when I'm just really old.
I could never show you guys.
Squishy. It'll be easier.
What?
Said as I get older, my bones will be soft and squishy, and my nose will be all oldie eye nose, so it won't hurt so bad.
I don't think that that's the
Is
case.
that how it works now?
I don't know.
All right, then I'm gonna have to do the
I don't-
cocaine. I knew it was gonna come to it eventually. No, I'm afraid of cocaine. I'm just kidding, everybody. I broke my cocaine.
Yeah, Oz, hit us up. We'll figure out a show where we can do some matriarchy versus patriarchy. Go deep. We're not going to do it tonight because we're wrapping up right now.
Yeah, that would be good.
I know, Vicky. I always have the long goodbyes. I love you guys so
long
much. I really do.
goodbyes.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you for watching,
Yes.
everybody. Okay.
All right.
right.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay then.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Good night, guys.
Good night.